What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to the Breakroom. Before we get this video started, I need you to go ahead and give it a like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to ring that bell to ensure that you get the latest and greatest content from Fourth Wall Break as it comes out. Let's get into it. What we're going to talk about today is Kang. Now, personally, I believe who we're going to find the other side of that cloud that is Goliath going to be a combination of Kang and Immortus. Let's face it, with all the clues and hints that Marvel's given us, if they don't give us that, they really hate us. So let's get into it. First thing we have to look at could perhaps be the biggest clue of all, Judge Renslayer. In the comics, she's Kang's love interest. We haven't got any strong hints involving her and Kang together so far in Loki. We also don't know if she's playing it 100% straight. In addition to that, there's some visual cues we're noticing. Besides all the Easter eggs that we've seen in episode 5, also just seen statues of the timekeepers themselves. Particularly the middle one looks a lot like what Kang might look like. There's even a side-by-side here with John Majors. The internet has spoken for a while. Also, in the comics, Kang is known for using robotics, macrobots, cybernetics. The fact that the timekeepers ended up being robots themselves, another nod to it possibly being Kang. Also, another cool thing is, unlike all the rumors and speculation we had about a possible Mephisto back in WandaVision, we have a casting officially for Kang. And it was brought about and announced right about the time Loki was filming. John Majors will be playing Kang. John Majors is set to play Kang in 2023's Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, and it also appears that Loki is going to be renewed for season 2. As I said before, there's lots of notable Easter eggs in episode 5, so let's look at some of the big ones. First off, at least a statue of the head of the Living Tribunal, which, if there's a statue or a real head, it's been beheaded and sitting in limbo. We also, when Mobius is driving away from Goliath, see a Sphinx. And if you look back at the comics, Daniel Richards, aka Kang, took a time machine in the form of a Sphinx back to ancient Egypt in order to begin his ruling of Earth 616 timeline. In addition to this, we thought was Avengers Tower. At closer look, ends up being Kang Tower. That's Q-E-N-G. And what Kang stands for is Kang Enterprises. CEO of Kang Enterprises, Mr. Gryphon, aka Daniel Richards. Now, one inconsistency, at least for the moment anyway, from MCU to the comics, Kang and Goliath don't really get along, if you can call it that. Kang actually kind of tries to stay away from the territory that Goliath has because of how powerful Goliath is. And Goliath's agenda kind of doesn't mesh well with Kang's, in that Goliath wants to swallow everything up, and Kang is looking to rule everything. The amount of clues and hints and subtle nods we're getting to this being a Kang or a Kang Immortus combination seems too painfully obvious. Almost to the level where we were at with Sharon Carter being Power Broker in The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not to the level of everybody just hoping that Evan Peters was Mephisto in WandaVision. For this reason, I think it's a pretty good bet going to get Kang or Immortus. The thing that's more unknown to me is what happens once we get them. Two of my best ideas for that, I think either Kang has been controlling things from behind the scenes and using Miss Minutes as a de facto eyes and ears for him inside the TVA, or Goliath is actually serving to keep Kang out of the normal timeline. And somehow, inadvertently, Loki and Sylvie will end up freeing Kang to start causing destruction. Still, even with those theories, assuming either of them are right, I'm left with more questions. For instance, why all the Loki variants? I mean, we hear Loki survive, it's like this, but seriously, what's the infatuation with Loki? I need to know. Maybe something a little bit more concrete. Is the TVA Kang's own Mad Men-inspired version of a governing body for the timeline? Or where do they come from? He conjured them up somehow in the beginning of time? I want to know a little bit more. We need to know the complete backstory, at least in the Cliff Notes version, because the one that we got so far is bogus. Also, how did Kang come to be in power in the MCU? Or how did he become trapped where he is? We need to know this as well. And then the bigger question, I believe, is there an even bigger villain hiding behind Kang, pulling his strings? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for hanging out this long if you made it to the end. Again, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been your Fourth Wall Break.